running a little bit late this morning. I definitely slept in. I'm the person that sets like 30 alarms in the morning. As you saw, I came into my classroom with lots and lots of stuff, as I typically do after a break. I had these 2 big boxes delivered to my classroom. I have no idea what is actually in here. Yes! Yeah. Are you ready for it? This was like best Thursday ever. Good morning, YouTube. This is our first week back from Thanksgiving break. We have 4 weeks between now and Christmas break, but I wanted to quickly talk about coming back from breaks because oftentimes that can be really difficult because you get so used to being at home, being in comfy clothes, not having to wake up early, getting to spend time with your family and loved ones, getting to actually get stuff done around the house and all those fantastic things. And then when it becomes time to go back to school, you start to get that feeling of dread. And it's okay to admit that. Like, I love my job. I love being a teacher, but it can still be difficult for me to come back from breaks. And it doesn't mean that I don't love my job, and it doesn't mean that I don't miss my kids because I miss them like something terrible. But there's that comfort factor of being able to be at home, being able to get things done. Like, that's fantastic. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that it's then difficult to come back. But ultimately, you have to come back. That's how it works. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what I do to make that better for me. So first of all, one thing is last night I packed my lunch. So that was done. I didn't have to worry about it this morning. I picked out what I was going to wear, so I didn't have to worry about that this morning. I allowed myself to sleep in as late as possible this morning because I have not been getting up early over break. And I have something fun planned for today because I think it's important to have something to really look forward to. So I will talk more about that once I get to school. I am going to go get me some coffee because I deserve it, and then I will catch up with you at school. Good morning. Can I get a medium hot white chocolate latte, please? As you saw, I came into my classroom with lots and lots of stuff, as I typically do after a break. I did open some packages from my P.O. box over break, and one of my subscribers, I believe it was Kasia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I apologize. But she sent me all of these amazing birthday gifts. There were these 2 sloths, so of course I will be adding those to my collection that sits up on my shelf. And then she also sent me some of these erasers from the Target Dollar Spot. They're Halloween, so I'll just save them for next year. And then some pencils, which is always appreciated. One of my other subscribers sent me these multicultural colors in the markers. I already have the crayons from Lakeshore Learning. They're called People Colors, and I kind of knew that there were markers, but I think I had forgotten about it. So she sent me 4 packs of those. Each pack has 8 markers, so super excited for those, and I know that my students will love them as well. So thank you so, so much. And I got myself these from the Target Dollar Spot. So each one of these were $1. These are building blocks. They basically look like little hashtags, and the students can use them to build with. So I really, really like these. There are some that are like multicolored and then some that are like Christmas colored. I'm just going to like mix them all together, but these are perfect for STEM bins, and they're really, really cheap. So I got 8 total packs, and that was $8. And then I bought these for myself, but I wanted to share them. So these are the Belvita breakfast biscuits, I think is maybe what they're called, but these are the gingerbread flavor, which like are a limited edition for the winter time, and I absolutely love them. I went to the store and bought all the boxes they had because I like them so much. Kind of like the pumpkin spice ones that they had in the fall time. I just really like the limited edition flavor, so I wanted to share this with you. If you are looking for a breakfast option, these are delicious. Another way that I help to ease the stress of coming back after a break is just feeding off of the energy of my students, because whether you think so or not, your students are excited to see you. They missed you. They are happy to be back in school. For many of them, you know, school is the most stable environment that they could possibly have. So they really feed off of that. And even though they're always tired, like a lot of my students this morning have been very tired, very exhausted, you can still tell that they're excited to be back. And getting to talk to them this morning and share my stories from break and hear their stories from break, like, just brought so much genuine joy to me, and like I had a huge smile on my face, and like that is what I love about teaching, is those connections with my students. So I definitely feed off of that and take full advantage of that to help kind of pump me up as I come back. Plus, it is always awesome when I come back to a couple gifts for my students. One of my students made me this. So it's basically magazine pages, but she made it into a tree, and I just thought that that was so amazing. So I'm gonna have that on my desk during the holiday season. I also had a student give me like a thank you card with a Reese's, and then I had another student bring me muffins. So like that obviously helps, but above anything else, I just love seeing my students again. I also mentioned that it helps to have something that you are excited about, a lesson or an activity that you're doing with your students. I had briefly mentioned this before we went on Thanksgiving break, that I have a parent coming in to teach a lesson today on codes, which I'm so excited about. We actually have a unit in science all about codes, and the parent reached out to me back during like back to school time and said that she would be willing to come in. So I was like, I will take you up on that, and we have coordinated. So let me show you like the slides to kind of go over what exactly we're doing. So this is the first slide. This is a GIF or GIF, however you pronounce it. I just went onto Google, I typed in coding GIF or GIF, and then saved it and imported it into the slide. This is just to kind of get my students intrigued, get their attention. This will be on the board when they come in. Then we're going to go through, we're going to talk about cryptography, and they are going to be learning about the Caesar shift cipher. And we're going to talk about how we can encipher and decipher messages. So we're going to start by reviewing some vocabulary, because there's some terms that they probably won't be really familiar with. So we're going to talk about cryptography is the study of keeping information secret, talk about why we would want to do that. Encrypt or encipher is turning a readable message into an unreadable message, and then decrypt or decipher is turning an unreadable message back into a readable message. And then plain text is the readable message, ciphertext is the encrypted message, and then cipher is the algorithm used to encrypt and decrypt messages. We're going to talk about the history of it. So Julius Caesar used a substitution cipher to send messages to his troops, and he used a rule to replace each letter with another letter of the alphabet, and then he substituted it 3 places further along in the alphabet. So for example, A was replaced with D, B was replaced with E, and so on. So they're gonna have a table in their worksheet that they will complete. Then I will kind of reveal this just to make sure everyone's on the same page, like this is what your table should look like. Then they're going to take the name of our school, and yes, I'm familiar that I am sharing the name of my school. It's okay if you Google my name, it comes up, I'm not worried about it. They're going to encrypt that name using the substitution cipher, and they're gonna check and make sure they have the same ciphertext as the person next to them. And then we're going to talk about how easy it is, like if you intercepted a secret message, using that cipher to be able to figure out the original message. I'm going to talk about how we could make it more difficult, and then talk about how there's other variations. You could shift it by more places, and that's called a key. So then they are actually going to make their own Caesar shift wheel. So basically there's 2 circles and a brad. So I have directions here, and I actually had the grandparent of some of my students offer to cut these out. So there's a smaller circle and the larger circle. They've already been cut out. I have all of them right here, all 120 of them, and they will be given a brad to secure them, so then they can spin the wheel and shift it to create different keys. So then they are going to encipher their name using 3 different keys to kind of see how it can look different. And then we're going to talk about how many different keys there actually are. And this is a GIF or GIF as well. You can see it actually like rotates through the different keys. Then they're going to be given this message, and they're going to decode it. And then they are going to write a message of their own and encipher it. And then we're going to talk about how good a cipher is at protecting messages and ways that we could improve it. And we're going to talk about breaking ciphers. So if you intercepted a ciphertext without the key, how you could figure out what it says. And at the end, we will talk about careers in cryptography. So this should be a really, really fun lesson. I'm happy that I'm going to have an expert in the field actually in here to help guide the lesson and then answer questions. And that's one of your responsibilities as a teacher, is also being able to connect your students with people in the community and start to get them exposed to different career options. So we're having a lockdown drill today, which is pretty standard in like all schools. You do that throughout the year just to practice. But I wanted to share this with you because this is something new that I got this year that I absolutely love is this window covering. So obviously I have this window on the door and it has to get covered. So instead of scrambling and trying to figure out some way to cover it during a drill or God forbid an actual lockdown, I actually got this curtain off of Etsy. So I'm gonna link it for you. The seller was absolutely amazing. Highly, highly recommend. I'm so happy with this purchase and it is so worth it. So basically I have the curtain hanging on command strips, which you can kind of see right there. So it's just hanging on these little hooks. I have this up here because my curtain, which I'll show you in a second when I put it all the way down, does not cover the entire length of the window because I have a very, very long window. If your window is shorter, then it would work much better. Mine is longer, so all I did is this is actually like a magnetic pocket that I had gotten from a teacher store, and since my door frame up here is magnetic, I just hooked it on to help cover the area at the very top where it's not covered. What I love about this curtain is it hangs on this ribbon, so when a lockdown happens, all I have to do is slip out both sides like this. It will roll all the way down, and then I actually adhered a piece of Velcro here and then on the door frame, so I can actually just pull it down and attach it so that I don't have to worry about it like flapping or dangling or whatever. So that way it covers the entire window, and then afterwards all I have to do is pull off the Velcro, roll it back up, and then I secure it again in those little ribbon hooks. So I will link this for you in the description box. Highly, highly, highly recommend. This was one of the best purchases that I made all summer. And of course, to fit my personality, it is black and white striped. It is the end of the day. I had Girls on the Run practice after school. So I got back to my room around 5:30 and just kind of cleaned up a little bit because I'm holding a PD session in my room tomorrow morning. So I'd like for it to not be a hot mess and not let my coworkers see that side. I have 2 lesson planned tonight for what I'm doing tomorrow. Funny story. During my block 2, the science lesson ran over a little bit, which I was totally fine with because I was like, you know what, like this lesson should be easy. We can move through it quickly. And as soon as I started the math lesson, our guidance counselor came in for a lesson. I was like, oh, totally forgot about that. So I did not really get to math in block 2 today, but I will get to it tomorrow, and that's all that I can do. Like, it's totally fine. So I need to do some planning to kind of adjust because I didn't get through everything today, but overall, it was a really good day and I enjoyed getting to see my students again. Besides lesson planning tonight, I just need to make sure some other things for the PD are squared away for tomorrow, but I will give you more information on that tomorrow morning and I'll kind of show you like how I'm setting up my room. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, go to the gym, all that good stuff, and I will catch up with you tomorrow. Oh. Good morning, YouTube. I'm leaving a little bit earlier than normal, and by that I mean like 7:20, so not a whole lot earlier, but I do have to set up for my PD that I'm doing this morning, so I will show you all that. I'm also gonna try to show you an outfit of the day because it's a little bit different for me, and we're gonna have a great day. I'm not getting coffee, we're just gonna wing it today, but I will catch up with you when I get to school. So my 2 best rules when it comes to professional development is feed them and let them go early. So this is a setup when you walk in the classroom. I just have my basic like sign-in sheet because I have to document who is here. And then I created this handout. So my PD is on ClassLink, which is a web page that we use. It's basically like a way to bookmark all of your websites. So I'm gonna go over like how to customize it, how to add new apps, and then how to connect your Google Drive or OneDrive. So I created this handout, kind of goes through everything step by step, and it's got lots of visuals and arrows pointing and all that. So they will be able to take one of these, and then I will put these in the mailbox of all of the staff that do not come so they can take one too. And then of course I have some breakfast goodies because I think that's always an extra incentive for people who are coming to these things because it is optional. So I have some apple cinnamon scones, blueberry muffins, and then some basic like assorted melon and fruit and all that good stuff. So I just picked this up from the grocery store last night. I want to say it was like $20-ish for all of it, but I don't know. Like, I don't do a lot of hosting at my house, but when that time comes, I will feel like I will really enjoy hostings, and I feel like this is like a mini way to kind of be a host. I have a few extra minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and quickly do like an outfit of the day because I don't do these very often because I tend to wear the same clothes all the time, but my outfit today is a little bit different. So starting up here with this scarf, no clue where I got this because I got this back when I was like a freshman in college, so it's been a long time. I got it for pretty cheap on like a good sale. I like that it has all these different like patterns in it. It has like the blue and the maroon and the black and then the cheetah, and I just thought it was kind of funky and I like it. So then I have this black shirt. Now this came from Amazon actually, and it's a basic black t-shirt with the exception of this little detail down at the bottom, and I really like this because I feel like it just fancies it up. So it's perfect for work because it's comfortable and it's stretchy, but at the same time it looks a little bit nicer. These pants I want to say came from American Eagle, but again I've had these for like, I don't know, 7, 8 years, something like that. And then I have these black boots which I got as a Black Friday sale like 5, 6 years ago. I want to say they came from Bass. So I had to do a life update because I have not vlogged since this morning, but the PD this morning went really, really well. Definitely like presenting is out of my comfort zone, but I'm okay when it's a small group. And when it's just a group of teachers in my classroom, I don't mind it, so I enjoyed that. The day overall was really well. I was able to condense 2 science lessons into one day, which is fantastic because technically I'm supposed to be doing that pretty often in order to fit in all the material, but it's really difficult to make that work. But today it happened and that felt good. Math, I definitely feel like we're making progress. We're talking about equivalent fractions. So we actually use fraction towers, which look like this. If you do not use these with your students, I highly recommend them. They are awesome. And today we talked about how if 2 towers are the same height, then you know that they are equivalent. So they would hold the towers and then break them off to make them the same height if they were able to make them the same height, and we had good discussions about that. Then during dismissal time, I have bus duty. So I take the bus riders out, and of course we were waiting on one bus and it was like super late, didn't get here until like 4:05. So I'm just now getting back to my classroom. It's about 4:15. I need to go ahead and head out of here because I am doing a podcast interview tonight and I've got to do that at 5 o'clock, and it's gonna take me probably a good half an hour to get home because of traffic. So I need to leave now, but I will catch up with you tomorrow morning, and once the podcast actually comes out, I will be sure to link it on my Instagram. Good morning, YouTube. It is absolutely freezing outside today. So I brought a hat for recess duty and I brought my big coat to try to keep warm because I swear, like, I like the cold weather, but when you're just standing there in it in recess duty, not fun. Last night I did get to bed a little bit early. I got into bed around like 10:45-ish, which for me was pretty good, but I'm still pretty tired if we're being honest. Today's just a normal day, nothing too special going on. This entire week is normal, which is good. We have a CDM meeting this morning that I have to go to, and then I'm planning with my team teacher, so I may or may not be able to vlog a whole lot today, but I will show you what I can, and I will catch up with you when I get to school. And just like that, it is the end of the day. Like I said, I just knew that I would not be able to vlog a whole lot today. However, I feel good because I had a graded assignment in science in both my blocks and a graded assignment in math in both my blocks. I was very productive because during science I had to show my students this video and it was like 7 minutes long. So I was like quickly grading like while they were watching the video, and then during dear time at the end of the day I was quickly grading, and I just got those all put in the grade book. So that always feels good when I don't have to leave papers and worry about them tomorrow. I love to get papers graded the day that my students turn them in just to get them out of the way, done, and then that also helps me to plan instruction for the future. If you hold on to grades for several days before you grade them, then you don't know how your students are performing on them, and then you can't really plan your instruction. Obviously you have like observational data, but I think sometimes students perform differently when they're doing something and you're just observing them versus when they're actually doing it on their own for a graded assignment. All that being said, it's a little bit after 4 o'clock. I actually have to get out of here early because I have a business call and I need to drive home for it, so I've got to get that done, but I will catch up with you tomorrow. Sorry, it's kind of a boring week. Like, it's a very just normal week and nothing too exciting going on, but I am doing something with Chromebooks tomorrow, so I will be sure to show you that. Good morning, YouTube. I am running a little bit late this morning. I definitely slept in later than I meant to. I'm that person that sets like 30 alarms in the morning. Okay, 30 is a little bit of a stretch, but I definitely set at least like 10 alarms in the morning. And this morning, I slept through all of them until the very end. So I did not wake up until 7:10. I'm leaving at 7:30. I'm gonna get coffee. And I know it's not Friday and I don't care, but I do not have any meetings this morning. So I have some time to myself this morning and I have my planning time, and I think that coffee will just make me that much happier. So I'm gonna do that for myself this morning, and then I will catch up with you at school. I had previously mentioned that my students were gonna have Chromebooks today, and I was giving them a Google Classroom assignment, which was a Google form. One of the reasons I love using Google Forms is because you can make them so they are self-grading. Obviously that only works for like multiple choice, true, false, those kinds of questions. It won't work if there's a written response, but at least it can grade any multiple choice. So this is the Google form that I gave them today. I actually purchased this one off of TPT because I just did not have time to make my own, but I am gonna show you how you can create your own because it's actually not that difficult. So this is the title, Equivalent Fractions Introduction Assessment. Then you can see this is actually an image that was inserted. So this font right here, this cursive font, that is not a font available within Google. The creator of this actually created a JPEG of this title and then inserted it in. So my students had to type in their first and last name. That's how I kept track of who had submitted what response. And then they had to select the models equivalent to 1/2. So you'll notice this is multiple choice. These ones are multiple choice, and so on and so on. So I'm going to show you how to actually create this and make it so it is self-grading. So if you go into your Google Drive and you create a form, this is Google Forms, which maybe I'll put an exact link to where you can create Google Forms in the description box just so it's less confusing. But you would put your title of it here and you can put a description. Then if you want to add an image for maybe the title kind of like this, you can do that, but that's absolutely not necessary. That's just extra for you. Then you can actually create your questions. So you will notice this question is multiple choice, but I can change it to text boxes, drop down, short answer, paragraph, and so on. But if you wanted to create this very basic, you would type in your question and then you can type in the options. Now you will notice on this Google form, there were actually images. So you can insert an image. Like if I go right here, I can actually add an image. But you could just do written out like text answers. You can add as many options as you want. In order to make it into a quiz, so it is self-grading, you actually want to go up here to settings. And then you go over here to quizzes. Then you have the option to make this a quiz. So automatically this will actually be off. You have to go into settings, go to quizzes, and then turn this on. So you can have them either get their grade immediately as they submit it. So that's what happened with my students today. As soon as they submitted this form, they were able to see their score. Or if there's something like a short answer that you have to go in and grade, then you would choose this later option, and then you can grade it and release it to them at a later time. You also can choose whether or not they can see which questions they missed, if they're able to see the correct answers or not, and then the point values of every question. So once you make it into a quiz and then you create all of your questions. So if I want more questions, I can add in more. You can choose whether the question is required, which if you're making it a quiz, you would want, you would want to make it so they are all required. In order to put in the correct answer, you go to this answer key button and then you would choose which one is correct. And then you can even add like answer feedback on there, and you can change the point value of each question. So I know that that was kind of a real quick like tutorial, but if you're wanting to add another question, you just go here to add question. You can drag and rearrange them, put them in different orders. You also can add just titles like throughout. So if you want to have different sections, you can add images throughout. You also can add videos, and then you can add like section breakers. I know that was really, really fast, so I can do maybe a more in-depth like tutorial, but real quick, in order to send this to your students, you would go up here to the send button, and then I go over here to the link, which is the second one right here, and then I copy and I paste this into my Google Classroom. So when my students go onto Google Classroom, they have that link right there, they click it, they complete the form, submit it, and then I'm able to see their scores right away. They're able to see their scores right away, and all I have to do is input it into the gradebook. So while I was at Girls on the Run this afternoon, I had these 2 big boxes delivered to my classroom. As you can notice from the label, it says Structured Play 4th grade. grade. So we are supposed to have structured playtime. Now, it's not really like worked into our schedule, so we kind of have to find time for it. But we've been waiting on the materials to come in for that, and they finally arrived. So I'm gonna kind of quickly go through and just show you what all came. While I'm opening up this box, I quickly wanted to talk about like structured play and what exactly that means. The whole point of it is to teach your students some of those skills in terms of cooperation, in terms of sharing and taking turns, and all of that. And that can be really hard to kind of work into your day. Obviously, your students have recess time, but it's not really structured. You're not telling your students to play certain games. They're able to pick and choose what they want. Whereas with structured play, you're just giving them more guidelines, and you're really teaching them and showing them and modeling for them how exactly to work with other people, how to play with other people. And honestly, I wish we had more time for this, because I do think it is really important for students, even in upper elementary, even in middle school. I think we often think that those kids don't need time to play anymore, but they do. Now, I will say I have no idea what is actually in here, so I'm excited to actually look and see. I was kind of talking to my team teacher about it because I know she had already opened hers, but I have not officially seen what is in mine, so you all will figure it out with me. Some of the first things I'm seeing, I'm really excited about these, are these colored Jenga sets, which I have seen these all over social media, and there's so many fun things you can do with these, not only structured play, but also getting students to be answering questions about the curriculum, and you can do different games with like the colors, and based on the color that they pull out, they have to answer a certain kind of question and all kinds of awesome things. So I'm excited about these. It looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of those per class, which is awesome. Super excited about that. Okay, we have some more 24 cards, which I love 24 cards. If you have never used these with your students, highly, highly recommend them. Students really like them, and it really gets them thinking about the different operations. There are 4 boxes of those. Okay, here's another Jenga set. So it looks like there's 5 of those. Set. The family game of visual perception. Okay, never heard of this before, and my head's cut off. There we go. So I'll have to try this out, play it with my students, because I've never played that before. We have these Explorers card game, which this is actually for our social studies curriculum. Part of it is about explorers, and so our students do different activities with those. So I may end up giving these to my team teacher. There are also some just general like decks of cards. So there's several of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we have Twister. I'm excited about this. And again, all of these are things that you can tie to the curriculum. So when I said it wasn't exactly like we don't have a set time for structured play, but you could actually find ways to make this come into your curriculum. No, you're fine. Okay, I have to laugh because we're like in between custodians right now. So that's not my normal custodian, and my normal custodian knew like, okay, she does this YouTube channel, like she's often in there talking to herself, and this custodian walked in, he was so confused, but it's all good. So while he was in here, there were more decks of cards like kind of buried at the bottom. So there's actually 10 decks of cards, which there are so many different games that you can play with decks of cards. They're super like versatile, which is good. Now I was going through, there's also just some basic like dice, which you can never have enough dice. So that is awesome. And then there are some beach balls. Don't really know exactly what they're for yet, but I like to do a lot of things with math, with like skip counting, and as they pass the ball they will skip count, things like that. There's a big box of these like paddles, which they're whiteboards on them, so I don't know exactly how I would use, I mean I would use it just as a whiteboard and like with students to hold it up, but I'll have to kind of rack my brain on that. There also is this lattice. I've never really heard of this. Can't really tell. It looks like there's a board game and tiles. So I don't know, but we will figure it out. We will play it and see. Okay, there's a lot of good stuff in here. I'm like really excited. There also is this Prime Club, the beautiful, colorful mathematical game. So again, never really heard of this one, but I'm excited to try it. Then there is this Design Studio. I don't know what this is, but it looks cool. Sorry, most of these things like I've never really heard of before, so I can't talk about them too much. Maybe I'll have to do like an update of like how we're doing structured play towards the end of the year once I've had some time to like try it out, but whatever this is, we're gonna try it. Okay, that is it for this big box. So now I'm gonna go to this other box. Yes, yes. Okay, are you ready for it? We got 3 sets of Mousetrap, like classic Mousetrap really excited about this. I remember playing Mousetrap as a kid. Actually, I remember setting up the game to play, and I would always get tired before I would actually play the game because it takes long to set up, but I'm excited to play this with my students, and we had 3 sets of them, which is fantastic because how many people can play in one? 2 to 4 players. So if I had 4 people playing each game, that's 12 people, and that's like a third of my class-ish, half to a third, and however much that is, but anyway, so I'm very, very, very excited about this, and that's definitely a game where you have to cooperate with other students to be able to play. I apologize that I was not able to talk too extensively on like any of this stuff specifically, because a lot of it I have not necessarily played yet, but like I said, if you are interested and like you want to know how exactly I'm using this or how I'm fitting it into my schedule, leave a comment down below and maybe I'll do an update video later on in the year. But tomorrow we have study hall, and I will probably spend that time like trying to put this all away and finding a way to store it all. I'm probably gonna need some more like plastic containers and stuff, but I'm excited. I'm super excited. This was like best Thursday ever. That being said, I need to get out of here because I was at Girls on the Run and I did not get back to my room until 6:05 because we had to wait for a parent to get here because they were stuck in traffic, and practice went way over. Practice ends at like 5:15 and I didn't get back to my room until 6:05. So I'm going to put this stuff away, at least like on the counter so it's not on the desks, and then I need to go to the gym, go home, and I will catch up with you tomorrow. Good morning, YouTube. It is Friday. We're gonna make it through the day. I am tired. I am gonna go get me some coffee, but I'm excited. I'm pumped. Made it through a full week. After this week, we just have 3 more weeks until Christmas break, which is absolutely insane. I'm gonna go grab some coffee, like I said, and then we actually have a short staff meeting at 8:15 this morning, so I gotta go to that. And then my goal, because I don't really have planning time today, is to get all of those structured play games and materials and all that put away during study hall, which means I will be able to have students help me, which is always great. So fingers crossed I can get that done. If not, it's fine. I'll get done after school, but I'm gonna get there and I will catch up with you after. Good morning. Can I get a large hot white chocolate latte, please? And just like that, it is already the end of the day. I hope that you got some good information from this vlog, because I know this was a very standard week, a very following our schedule type of week. I mean, there was nothing too out of the ordinary, which is nice to kind of have that consistency, but at the same time, I don't have a ton to share because, like, for example, today's math lesson, we were talking about comparing fractions. It was very basic. We talked about different strategies, using fraction towers, using number lines, using area models, and that was basically all. You know, there wasn't anything super fancy to share. It was pretty basic teaching, but hopefully you still got some good information this week, such as using Google Forms. If you have not tried that yet and your students do have access to Google Classroom, highly suggest you try it out. Make that your goal for next week. Get that tried out. Obviously, if you don't have the technology, that wouldn't work for you, but maybe it's something you could use in the future if that technology ever does become available. Also, hopefully you got some ideas of some things for structured play. Obviously, like I said, I will do a video later on if you all want more information on it. And just to clarify, because I felt like last night I was super brain dead and I may not have made it very clear, structured play is essentially play with purpose. So it can be things that you work into the curriculum, or you could have designated time for it. But like I said, I can give y'all more information on that later. I need to end this vlog because I'm doing another podcast interview tonight, and I need to get some things done around here, prep homework for next week, get some grading done, get out of here, go do the podcast interview, go to the gym, all that good stuff. So as always, if you, oh, I'm getting an email. If you enjoyed this vlog, please, please, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Also hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you are notified every time I post a new video. As always, thank you for watching. I love you all so much. Don't forget to think positive, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of this video and for supporting my YouTube channel. If you want to check out any of my older videos, you can use the 2 links right down here. If you want to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any future videos, you can use the link right up here. The links to all of my social media sites, my Teachers Pay Teacher store, my merchandise store, and my Amazon store are in the description box, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.